George Balekji here with Ness and Patriots beat reporter Zack Cox. It's on to week 6 for the Patriots. They'll head out to Vegas to take on the Raiders. 1-4 on the year. The first day for Bill Belichick to, quote, start over, which he said Sunday, has started today at practice. But not a personnel thing. He said Mac Jones is still the starting quarterback for the Pats. What does that say to you, and what do you think this week means, Zach, for Mac Jones as a starter after getting benched 2 straight games?
I think it's huge for Mac. I think this is close to a make-or-break week for Mac Jones. It makes sense that they're sticking with him as the starter, if only because they don't appear to have any kind of internal upgrade replacement. Based on the way that Bailey Zappi played both this summer and in his 2 relief appearances, he did not look like somebody who could step in and give the Patriots better play than they've gotten from Mac Jones, which obviously has not been especially good in these last couple of weeks. But even if that's the case, he cannot have another outing like he did in these last 2 games. You just can't stick with a quarterback who has 3 turnovers one game, 3 turnovers the next game, and then if he follows that up with a similar performance, especially when he's someone like Mac Jones who doesn't have the high-end physical attributes, he doesn't have the rocket arm. His game is supposed to be playing smart, taking care of the ball, getting the ball to his playmakers. He has not been doing that in the last couple of weeks, and even though there are kind of mitigating circumstances, if he has another game like that, I think he will be benched for good.
When you look at the numbers, the 2 pick sixes and the scoop and score fumble from Mac on that sack, Mac's points he's accounted for both teams. He's outscoring himself 22-3. His offense has put up 3 points. Going that Cowboys 2-point conversion, that makes it 22-3.
I mean, put it back through the last 3 games, and it's 22-16, I believe, if you count the Jets game where they only scored 1 touchdown. Yeah, 10 quarters without without a touchdown of any kind for the Patriots. It's really been an alarming stretch of just offensive ineptitude here.
And I think you hit the nail on the head. The one thing with Mac, it's everyone talks about is processing his IQ. He's not gifted enough to have bad fundamentals, bad mechanics, and when his intangible, which is his IQ, is lacking, he doesn't have enough to make up for it. So certainly a make-or-break week, especially against a poor Raiders defense before we face the Bills and the Dolphins coming up. Big storyline this week. There's all the Patriots littered all over on this Raiders roster because of Josh McDaniels being out there, and obviously guys from the front office that were here. Jacobi Meyers facing his old team. Bill Belichick with interesting answers today at the press conference. It was asked about Jacobi and the negotiations. He said they were close, but Jacobi went with Vegas. Reports from reputable reporters alongside yourself said that wasn't the case. It wasn't even close. What did you make of those comments?
Well, it was interesting because Bill Belichick was directly asked why re-signing Jacobi Meyers was not a priority for the Patriots this offseason. And he said it was a priority. We talked to him, ended up not being able to get something done. That doesn't really seem to jive with everything that we've heard about the situation and how we saw it play out in real time, especially because Jacobi Meyers, even after he signed with the Raiders, he said he definitely wanted to re-sign with the Patriots, and they just weren't able to reach an agreement. At the time, the move made a little bit of sense, swapping out Jacobi Meyers for Juju Smith-Schuster. Even though Jacobi Meyers had been such a valuable player for this Patriots team, he's a limited player. He's not a quote-unquote true number 1. If you could think you can switch him out and bring in an upgrade, I get that line of thinking. The problem is that Juju Smith-Schuster has not been an upgrade. He's been a significant downgrade. It's not a stretch to say that he's been one of the least productive starting caliber receivers in the entire NFL. Only 14 catches, 86 yards through 5 games. Myers has almost reached that 86-yard level 3 times by himself this season, had a touchdown on Monday Night Football the other night, and also Smith-Schuster now in concussion protocol, so we might not even see him on the field this Sunday. It's just a major misstep from a personnel and roster building perspective. I don't think it's the biggest problem on this Patriots team, but if they had somebody like Jacobi Meyers, I think this team would be in a better place offensively, especially at the skill positions. I mean, you just look, none of these Patriots receivers can get open. They can't separate, and that's been a big problem holding back this offense.
Yeah, Jacobi Meyers wasn't the most athletically gifted receiver we ever saw, but he was the guy that would get open, had Mac Jones's trust, and certainly knew he's doing in this system. Of note, too, Demario Douglas not spotted at practice either today. That's been the Patriots. A 6th rounder out of Liberty. That's been the Patriots' best offensive weapon this year.
It's been telling to me, too, that 2 big name former Patriots, Devin McCourty back in the spring, and then Julian Edelman this week, have been willing to publicly question Bill Belichick about this decision. Both of them said, man, I really didn't like that decision to let Jacobi Meyers go, and obviously it's really bitten the Patriots so far.
And they certainly need leadership now. Okay, so let's get to the starting over thing, Zach. Belichick said it on Sunday, caught our ears. He was asked about it today. He hated being asked about it. I asked him, said everyone? Coach, he said everyone. I said, all right, does that mean introspection? He just said everyone. I'm like, all right, whatever. Belichick's way of telling me to screw off twice. What does starting over mean to you? What do you think that will be come around Sunday kickoff between the Pats and Raiders?
It seems to be just kind of a get back to basics, get back to the fundamentals. A lot of that is kind of cliche, and you don't really know exactly how that's going to manifest on the field on Sunday. It was interesting to me that we talked to Bill O'Brien, the Patriots offensive coordinator, yesterday. He said the Patriots had a really good meeting when they got back to Gillette Stadium on Tuesday after that off day Monday. Didn't give a lot of specifics about what was discussed in that, but he did say the Patriots are making some schematic changes aimed at helping their offensive line, which I mentioned earlier that receiver issues aren't the biggest problem for the Patriots right now. It's offensive line play. They've been terrible up front. They haven't been able to protect Mac Jones. They haven't been able to clear lanes in the run game. Their right tackle situation is still a disaster. I think that's been a big priority for them this week, even if they're not going to be fully healthy there. We don't exactly know what the injury status of some of those players is. It seems like they're going to take some extra steps to do whatever they can from a play design and play calling standpoint to maybe put that unit in a better position, because you saw some plays, especially in this last game against the Saints. It seemed like every time they tried to run a perimeter running play, it was just blown up in the backfield. The running back didn't have a chance. So there's big problems up front, and I think that is the single number one problem for this Patriots offense. They've got to block better, and I think everything else will kind of trickle down from there.
Yeah, to me, I think it's Bill O'Brien definitely came up with a system he wanted to implement. And Bill Belichick probably met them and was like, look, this is what you're given thanks to the GM, which is him, but he won't say that. We got to simplify things, keep it north-south, no more fake tush-push to weird tosses. But given the personnel, it just has to be simple football, north-south, try and run the ball, even though they haven't found success. Just dumb it down, be smart, and they need to stop losing games, especially against opponents like the Raiders. They're the team now they used to always beat. Teams would come in here, make mistakes, make it easy to beat. That's a Pats now.
Yeah, the number one thing, too, I mentioned O-line play, but from an overall perspective, they've got to stop turning the ball over. They've got to stop putting themselves in these early holes. They've trailed by double digits in the first half in all 4 of their losses this season. Only one team in the NFL has more turnovers. They've allowed 4 defensive touchdowns, including 3 in the last 2 games. They're not talented enough to overcome early mistakes like that. You saw in the first 2 weeks that they had those early mistakes. They were able to recover and able to make a game of it against Philly and against Miami. Hasn't happened in the last couple of weeks, and I think that's another priority for them this week. It's easy to say, don't turn the ball over. They're going to have to figure out how to actually do that, but this is not a team that can win when they turn the ball over twice in the first half and have one of them taken back for a touchdown.
They got to learn how to score touchdowns, too, because they can't win games 3-0. All right, Patriots will be out in Vegas this Sunday. Zack Cox, Dakota Randall, they'll have full coverage. NESN.com, NESN360, NESN's YouTube channel. Make sure to stay locked in right here for full Pats coverage. For George Balekji and Zack Cox, that's all from Gillette Stadium.
PNC Bank, helping to make banking easier.